The months leading up to wedding day are filled with celebrations along the way. So what are some of those big events and proper etiquette for each? We've got the lowdown on those extra festivities. Oh, yeah.
You would say that.
I would. Well, I like pre-celebratory events. I like the celebratory events and the post-celebratory events. Really anything celebratory and an event, that's a win in my book.
Isn't everything kind of celebratory for you?
Right now, being on not air, but sort of air through podcast is a celebratory event. Yes, absolutely.
Everything calls for a celebration, right?
Being able to get my Starbucks pre-ordered and just walk in and grab it, celebratory event.
That was pretty great, actually.
It took like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
It was.
Yeah.
We have some celebratory news.
Besides the Starbucks?
Besides the Starbucks, that Georgia has officially launched. It has. So we're super excited to be officially working with amazing vetted vendors in Georgia.
We've got some incredible people down there.
Yeah.
It's very, very exciting.
It's awesome. Yeah, we had an amazing launch event.
Yeah.
Met some really cool people, have some really cool vendors on. So if you're listening to our podcast from Georgia, we're super excited. Come check out the site and all the new vendors down there. That's our celebration right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Besides our everyday celebration of
course,
you being married to me. That's a pretty big celebration, right?
I mean, every minute.
It is.
It is. No, it is. But seriously though, like our Georgia vendors right now, it's just they're on fire. They're great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I'm very, very excited.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
plus Atlanta was fun.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We ate some good food.
The helicopter ride was a nice touch.
We went on a helicopter. That was cool.
That was,
yeah. If you haven't seen it, check out our Instagram stories because
that was new.
Yeah. I'd never been on a helicopter and I said I wasn't going to go on the helicopter. And then in classic Samie fashion, I was peer pressured into going on a helicopter and I'm glad I did.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
I was a little nervous, but we landed. We're here. I don't know if I would do it again.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
It's a one-time deal for you.
One-time deal.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get you back up there.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see. Pressure.
I mean,
peer pressure and all.
Yeah. They could get you to the airport in like 10 minutes. In Atlanta, you can't even get to the corner in 10 minutes.
No.
So
you're dreaming.
Yeah. Even when you're walking.
Exactly.
Anyways, so really excited to kind of chat a little bit more about, pre-celebratory events. These are always a fun time. So I think the first one that we'll focus on, the one that most people, especially the groom and the groomsmen talk a lot about, is the bachelor party, bachelorette party. So
groomsmen do like to talk about the bachelor party.
They do love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't quite get it's kind of the event.
Yeah. Grooms, they plan the big
the
proposal.
Wedding,
yeah, and then they focus on that bachelor party.
Yeah, and then the wedding.
Yeah, showing up pretty much.
Showing up, of course, and eating cake.
And eating cake. If you haven't listened to our cake podcast, you got to go back and listen to it. It was awesome. It was amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that kind of is the case a lot of times.
Yeah.
Not that all grooms are uninvolved. That's not what we're saying.
No, definitely not what we're saying.
But you do come across a bit of it. So
uninvolved? I think most grooms are involved now. You were involved.
That's true. I was.
Yeah. I feel like grooms have things they care about, and you never know what it's going to be until you get engaged, and then you're like, oh, you care about that? That's so random.
Right.
But I love it.
Right.
I think it's so that to me is like when I'm like have my couples come in like for my planning business, come in and like sit down and like the things that the grooms care about or like the ideas they come up with. It's so great. And sometimes they're really good ideas. And sometimes, it's like me and the bride looking at each other like, yeah, we'll think about that.
Or it's a good idea, but the execution is not quite practical. And that's why they need to hire the professional.
Or they think they've come up with like the next best thing, and it's like something we do every wedding.
Right.
But we make them feel like it's
2 words: sparkler exit.
Oh my gosh,
Oh
my god, that's such a good idea. See how I did that?
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Now all of your clients are going to be like, wait a second. That was my idea.
I wanted to do the sparkler exit.
So as in per Ryan usual, I'm taking us way off track. So
yeah, what were we talking about?
We were talking about the bachelor and bachelorette parties, not problems.
That's right, not problems. Let's not talk about that today.
So yeah, so
I'm not prepared.
So who should plan the bachelor and bachelorette parties?
So typically that's going to kind of fall on your maid of honor, best man, to kind of lead planning on it. That being said, bridesmaids, groomsmen are also typically like pretty involved in that. So you usually have like maybe like one or two who kind of lead the charge on actually getting down to planning it. Maybe you have like a sister or a brother who like are a part of the bridal party and maybe not your like maid of honor or best man. So they might step in and kind of help with that. So it just kind of depends like what your like group is. And you might have some other people who are a part of the party who aren't even maybe your bridesmaids and groomsmen. So they might not be involved in planning, but they might attend the event. And that's okay too. It doesn't have to be bridesmaids and groomsmen the only ones who come. So if you have like a small bridal party, maybe you want to have a small bachelor party, but maybe you want a big one, even though you had a small part. We have couples who maybe only want to have their family because their friend group is too big and they don't want to pick, and you don't want to hurt feelings. Bridal parties get into all these feelings, right? So you can always kind of involve those people, and this is a good event to involve them in if they weren't a part of the bridal party. Still a way to celebrate with them.
Yeah, and that was something that I know I did, and you did as well.
Yeah. I don't know if I did, actually.
I thought you did.
I think I kept my party pretty small.
Oh, you were kind.
Oh, no, I did. Yeah.
It was so long ago.
So long ago.
It's like 8 years ago.
What did
it was
I
8
do?
years ago. And for the grooms out there, groomsmen, New Orleans in June, it's probably not the best time to go. It's a little toasty.
Yeah. I feel like you were still sweating when you came home.
I am.
8 years later, you're still sweating?
I'm still, it's the condition for sure.
Should get that checked out.
So speaking of New Orleans and things like that, where should you go?
So I think that you want to decide on your vibe. And I would say before you start planning, you want to communicate that to your group of whoever is planning. So we just talked about who could plan it, but you want to make sure you communicate your vibe. As the bride or groom, this is an event that someone else is kind of planning for you. So it is good to kind of take your, hands off the reins a little bit and let them kind of do some of the work. That's what your friends are here for. They're going to celebrate you. But give them some direction, do you want a relaxed vibe? Like you want to go to the beach? Do you want a city vibe and you want to, go clubbing at night? Do you want to go to New Orleans in June? Are you looking for...
That's a chill vibe. Good food, good drinks.
Are you looking for something where you go camping? Or, are you looking for something where maybe you go shopping or go to a spa? So kind of like give them some direction. And then that can help to kind of guide what kind of, where you want to go. Another thing to consider is where all your attendees for the event live.
Right.
So... if you're getting married in the same city that all your friends live and they're not going to have a lot of travel expenses for the wedding, then maybe you guys do go to Vegas for your bachelorette party. If everyone's already traveling in for the wedding and maybe some other events and stuff like that, maybe they're doing a lot of traveling and cost is a consideration, time off work. Maybe you do something that's a little bit closer for everyone. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. There's a lot of expenses in being a bridesmaid and groomsman.
There's a lot more than people realize.
A lot of expenses.
Especially when you have multiple weddings in a year too.
Yeah. And people don't always like think about that. Like you might not be the only wedding. And so, and then a lot of people, maybe they're getting married the same year. So they have their own wedding expense.
Yeah.
So definitely keep that in mind, like the price point, going to Vegas, which is a traditional bachelorette party location, can be super expensive. I think Vegas is like one of the most expensive cities there is. So
when you account for everything, for sure.
Yeah. So keep that in mind.
Fun, though.
Yeah, it is. But flights, hotels, food, gambling, whatever it is that you guys are looking at, shopping, spa. There's a lot of expenses, so keep that in mind for your bridal party when you're planning, kind of knowing what you've already asked of them and, typically where they kind of are and financially and things like that.
Yeah. And I will say, just from in the time that we've been married, I feel like it's gotten easier and almost less expensive because of things like Airbnb and Hotel Tonight. I remember my bachelor party, we were just like 6 dudes in a room, in a hotel room.
Yeah.
And now for that same cost, you could probably get like a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah,
like that.
For sure. And I think that's really like a great option. Keeps everybody together, keeps the party going, even if you guys aren't out. So that can be a really good option no matter what kind of vibe you're going for.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when should you go? When should you do these parties? Because I think traditionally, at least like when I hear like a lot of like our parents and things like that talk. A lot of times bachelor parties, bachelorettes happen like the day before the wedding.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us a little bit like when should that happen?
Yeah, people did. I feel like that used to be a really common thing. I would say now it's more common to go like 1 to 2 months before your wedding day. I would probably recommend that, especially if you're going to be partying pretty hard.
Right.
Because it's going to take you a few days to recover, and you certainly don't want to have, like a Thursday night bachelorette party, and then the next day is the rehearsal and rehearsal dinner, and then the next day is the wedding, or do it Friday night and then you're hungover for your wedding. That's not fun.
Right.
So I mean, especially if you're going to make a weekend out of it, you're going to want to do it like 1 to 2 months, which is what generally a lot of people do. Now if you're just going to do like one night and go out, doing that maybe like Wednesday or Thursday could be a good option before the wedding. Just keeping in mind that you do have a big weekend of celebration, so maybe you're not gonna stay out as late as you would have if you'd done it 1 to 2 months before.
Yeah, true. No, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So then, kind of moving along to another kind of pre-celebratory event that's super popular, are bridal showers.
Yeah.
I didn't really partake in these, so I am genuinely curious. So, who should plan that and who should go?
So bridal showers, again, this can fall on maid of honor bridesmaids. I would say, that definitely does happen. It could also be like an aunt, or maybe like a really good, female family friend. Or if you're doing a co-ed shower, like a really, great couple family friend. Typically with bridal showers, etiquette says it shouldn't be like a mom. Just because bridal shower is like a ask for gifts, but I think Emily Post has like changed her rules a little bit on that, and it has kind of like flexed that rule. But generally, I would say it's someone who's not like a part of the bridal party or like a parent. It's usually like a family friend or an aunt or something like that. Who's going to be more likely to kind of actually host the shower.
Gotcha. So speaking of co-ed showers, elaborate a little bit on that. I think we've attended a couple of those. Yeah,
co-ed showers are like a new trend, and I like them a lot because you should be celebrating both people, right?
Yeah.
So it is everyone's wedding. So I think co-ed showers are really cool. They aren't going to follow your traditional like bridal shower like run of show, or like a traditional bridal shower has like games and maybe like finger sandwiches and like cakes. Like it's like, a little different than maybe if it had been a co-ed shower.
Right.
Co-ed showers tend to be more of like nighttime, maybe like a cocktail party type event, and usually maybe have a theme around them.
Yeah.
I know like a popular theme is like a stock the bar theme, which I think is really cute for a co-ed shower.
It's a great theme.
Yeah, it's really great. You can do like like obviously all the gifts would probably be like stock the bar, so like themed around like wine glasses or cocktail shakers and things like that, and then incorporating maybe like stock the bar of like your favorite kind of liquor or their favorite kind of liquor, recipes. You can do like a lot of fun things with that. So I think that's a really common co-ed shower theme.
Yeah,
but I kind of love it. It's a little bit different, gets everybody involved. It's a good way to kind of involve both sides of the family.
Yeah, it's a good way to bring everyone together.
Yeah, I think so.
Instead of just having it on the wedding day or the rehearsal dinner, something along those lines. Just another, especially if it's which leads to the next question is, when should it be? Because it's usually not going to be right up against the wedding. So it's just a nice kind of staggered way to bring everyone together.
Yeah. Again, usually like 1 to 2 months before the wedding. You could do it a little earlier if you wanted to, but in that 1 to 2 month period.
Okay. And then lastly, where should you have, host a bridal shower? Yeah,
there's a ton of options. You could do a private room at a restaurant. If you're a small group, you could even just get a big table at a restaurant. If you have a country club or maybe like a clubhouse in your neighborhood or whoever's hosting his neighborhood, you could do like house. I would say someone's house is probably the most common option for a bridal shower.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a huge bridal shower and huge party, you could even rent like a smaller like venue. So it just kind of depends on budget.
Yep, of course.
And typically, who the host is paying for this, so it's kind of up to what they're willing to spend
to contribute. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Which I think is why I so often is at people's houses, because then you can have a lot of people contribute. They can bring food and drinks, and
it's just more
intimate. Casual and intimate.
Yeah.
Which I think is really perfect for a bridal shower.
Yeah, I agree. So okay, great. So then, kind of moving on to the next one, the luncheon. It's another great pre-celebratory event.
Yeah. Well, actually, before you ask me questions, I bet if people are listening not from the South, they might not know what a bridal luncheon is. It's a very Southern tradition, actually.
Well, then why don't you tell us a little bit more, Samie? Why don't you take us for a walk?
Why don't I take us off topic? No, it's a Southern tradition, and I love it. So I think even if you're not Southern,
we're going to discuss it today.
So even if you're not Southern, you should think about it. No, it's just it's a pre-celebratory lunch that you bring all your bridesmaids together, and then any like females that are a big part of your life. So moms, grandmas, aunts. Maybe you have a super close, family friend. And it's just a great way kind of before the wedding weekend to kind of get all the girls together and celebrate. It's super casual, just a lunch getting together. Maybe you get your nails done in the morning and then go to this lunch. So it's just a nice kind of like planned stop along the way that I think is a Southern tradition that really could be kind of adopted by anybody.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So who plans that?
Typically, again, this is like a family member or a family friend. It's not usually planned by your, bridal party. Could be. It can be anyone who wants to step. Any of these events really could be anyone who wants to like kind of step up and host something. But typically, you might know it might be an aunt or a family friend. That's probably the most common people who host it.
Gotcha. Okay. And then, and where should it be?
This kind of goes to the same thing as the bridal shower, where it could be anywhere. I would say most common is just like a reservation at a restaurant. Maybe
so
you
Chipotle?
Sure.
Sweet.
Maybe like a maybe like a full service restaurant instead of like a self-service
getting
restaurant.
fancy. All right.
It could be at someone's house. It could be at a clubhouse or a country club. So those are, kind of those common options, but a lot of times it's just something more casual at a restaurant. Just a great way to get everybody together. This is a good time to kind of give your bridesmaids their gifts. If you have a gift for mom, this can be a good time to do it. So it's just like a little more intimate before you bring everybody together, even at the rehearsal dinner. It's just kind of like building up to the bigger party.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and then when should that be?
Typically, it's the Friday before the wedding. If everybody's in town, you could do it like Thursday or even like a week before. I wouldn't recommend that you do it on wedding day. I've had a couple people who've, talked about it. It just kind of adds extra stress.
Right. You're on a strict timeline.
Yeah. If you're not going to be able to do like a formal bridesmaids luncheon, you could like bring in food on wedding day and like kind of have like a more casual bridesmaids luncheon. I think that's a great option. But like going somewhere else and having like a full lunch while you're like trying to like get ready, do hair and makeup, just depends. Like I think it's really hard to squeeze in on wedding day.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
You do have to eat lunch though, but
yeah, so it just depends, I guess, on what you're planning.
So okay, cool. So then, as far as kind of closing this out for the pre-celebratory events, what are the best next step for our couples as they start to plan and think about these things?
I would say that first and foremost, you kind of want to think about which events you want to actually have. Then I would talk to your bridal party, parents on both sides, and see if they have anyone who's like who would like want to host something like that. And then kind of start, setting like, okay, well, here's what I'm envisioning for the bridal shower. I'd really love something really casual, or I'd like something co-ed or whatever. Same for the bridal luncheon. Maybe I want to make sure we do it Friday because I have a lot of bridesmaids flying in. And then for the bachelorette party, kind of setting that vibe, like we talked about, like, I want something really cool and relaxed, or I want to really party or whatever. So make sure you kind of set those expectations.